This is KGW News at 5.
And first here at 5 o'clock, we have breaking news. Iconic actress Betty White has died at the age of 99. She was just weeks away from turning 100. Reports say she had no previous medical illness before she died this morning. White is most famous for her role as Rose Nyland in the TV show Golden Girls, but has also won awards for her roles in The Mary Tyler Moore Show and Hot in Cleveland. We will have a look back at her career later in the newscast. Now to coronavirus news, where Oregon is trying to make COVID testing more accessible. Devin Haskins shows us how a large order of tests by the state will help fill some of that gap, but it could also skew the numbers of positive results.
Oregon health officials admit that they have not had enough COVID tests for everyone that needs it. So they ordered 12 million at-home COVID tests that should start arriving in Oregon starting next week.
The state says they're not able to deliver them to everyone, so priority will go to local public health authorities, Native American tribes, migrant and seasonal farm workers, high-risk early learning settings, K-12 schools, healthcare workers, shelters, and community-based organizations.
We thought this was a perfect time to try to get ahead of the COVID that's circulating in our communities and offer Oregonians access to new testing resources that haven't previously been available.
With the surge of Omicron, at-home tests have been hard to come by. Some drugstores completely sold out. Drive-through appointments are few, and at county testing sites, people stood in long lines waiting for a test just before Christmas. These at-home tests should help solve some of that problem.
These tests work very well if you have symptoms. And right now we believe that the tests detect Delta, they detect Omicron, they detect all of the known variants, and we'll continue to monitor how effective they are at doing that over time. But what we do know is that these tests are effective at telling you if you have COVID, particularly when you're symptomatic.
I talked with one person today who didn't want to go on camera, but said that they tested positive using an at-home COVID test. Right now they're at home quarantining, but never reported the findings to their doctor and said really it never even crossed their mind. Thing is, they're not wrong in that because Oregon doesn't have a system in place to self-report to the state. Instead, OHH says that they ask if you test positive, that you let your doctor know.
Once you have a positive or a negative result, it's really up to you to know what to do with those. So we're going to also be working to make sure that our communities understand what the impact of a positive result is and the need to isolate themselves from others so that they don't spread COVID to their friends or family. And that's really what these tests are about.
In Washington state, though, you can self-report to the state's COVID hotline. That number is 1-800-525-0127. Then press pound to start the process. In Portland, I'm Devin Haskins, KGW News.
The new year brings a new law to Washington state meant to cut down on plastic waste in the environment. It targets restaurants and to-go orders. Pat Doris reports.
For nearly 90 years, Joe Brown's Cafe in downtown Vancouver has served up some of the best food around. It's famous for things like hash browns and pancakes the size of a plate. The building holds just 5 booths, which was fine before the pandemic, but once COVID hit, to-go orders saved this place.
It was the to-go orders that kept us going and kept us in business. And so we've kept it up now because it is a big part of our business.
And because of that, Washington state's new law targeting the things that typically are sent with those orders will have a big impact here. The law bans restaurants from routinely handing out plastic utensils or straws or lids for most cold drinks. It also bans routinely including condiment packages like ketchup or mustard. Customers can still get those things, but they have to ask first.
We're trying to reduce that load of plastic pollution into our environment.
Heather Trim is executive director of a statewide group called Zero Waste Washington. She sent over pictures of plastics found during various cleanups. She believes forcing customers to ask for straws and other plastics will help keep that stuff out of the environment.
Oh, yeah, this is a great first step. So Washington was the first state to pass a statewide law. California has since passed one last summer, and we're expecting that other states will as well.
Oregon has not passed a similar law, but the city of Portland did back in late 2019. We tried to find out the impact of the law, but did not hear back from the city by the time we put this report together. Back in Vancouver, Karen Carlton expects some customers to be confused and unhappy.
If I don't send out the little jelly, then what do? Put it in the plastic cup? I mean, I don't know what they want us to do.
The new law will allow her to send out that jelly packet, but only if the customer asks for it first. Karen said she wants to protect the environment as much as anyone, but worries about the next step in a couple of years that targets plastic and styrofoam containers.
Yeah, those are plastic. Our boxes are plastic, and then we also have the styrofoam.
Those changes in food containers are still a ways off, but they are coming. In the meantime, there are a few exceptions for these other rules. For example, if you buy a cold drink at a drive-thru, you won't have to ask for a lid. It'll just have one. And if you're at a big event that has more than 2,500 people, it will have lids if you buy a soda, for example. Also, coffee and tea, you won't have to ask for lids. But otherwise, there are a bunch of changes coming, all designed to protect the environment in Washington State. In Portland, Pat Doris, KGW News.
Let's talk about some more laws. A handful of new laws in Oregon will keep HR departments busy in the new year. We talked to employment attorney Susan Barron, who says many of these changes come after the hardships endured by both employees and employers during the pandemic.
Many of them are just really struggling even to stay afloat. So many have struggled terribly so that they don't have to lay off or terminate employees. I can't remember a time in Oregon when I've seen so many employees who were so pushed to the wall on what life has thrown them. So it's been a tough time for them too.
So let's run down some of the biggest changes. First, amendments to the Oregon Family Leave Act expand eligibility to more employees. Instead of 180 days, you will only need to be on the job 30 days to take leave. Second, the Crown Act bans discrimination based on cultural hairstyles. Third, you'll have longer to make a workplace safety violation claim and have more protections against retaliation if you do. Next, an employer cannot require a prospective hire to show a driver's license unless they will be driving on the job. And one other change taking place this year, or next year rather, in Oregon is the minimum wage increase. Now, this won't take effect until next July, on the 1st of July. It varies depending on where your employer is located, but the minimums range from $12.50 an hour to $14.75. The Oregon Bureau of Labor and Industry's website has a helpful map that breaks it all down. The soccer community is really coming together to support a beloved member of the Timbers Army recently struck by tragedy. Our Christelle Kumwe joins us live in the newsroom with more. Christelle.
Ashley, Jim Cerro goes by Timber Jim. He was the Portland Timbers team mascot up until 2008 and is well known amongst the team's fans. On Christmas Day, his daughter Callie died from an asthma attack. In order to help with funeral costs and expenses, Timber Joey, the team's current mascot, started a GoFundMe. For years, Timber Jim has helped others. He's raised thousands of dollars for causes and nonprofits, building parks for kids of all abilities and funds for Meals on Wheels. Now, Timber Joey says this is a chance for the community to support him as his family goes through this loss.
It's our language, it's a language of love. We're spreading the love. He's the one who's really instilled that in a lot of fans. He's instilled it in soccer players, and it's something that is very special for all of us, and it's time that we can actually give back to a man who's done so much for our community and for the soccer world.
The response has so far been overwhelming. The GoFundMe has raised more than $50,000 as hundreds of people have left donations to help. We'll have a link on our website at kgw.com. Now, Callie was Jim and his wife Diane's oldest daughter. The couple lost their youngest daughter, Hannah, to a car accident in 2004. Timber Joey says the family is brokenhearted, as you can imagine, Ashley.
Yeah, that's just awful. I hope they raise a lot of money for that family. Christelle, thank you.